Hey everyone, and welcome to Ink Spotlights from Comix Wellspring. This is the series where we shine the spotlight on immensely talented creators who print with us. Today, we're joined by Tyler Downey to talk about some of their journey and a little bit more. Welcome to the show, Tyler. I'm so excited to just talk to you and hear more about your book. Tell us all about State of Kane.
Of course. What would you like to know specifically, though?
Oh, just give us the premise and kind of where this idea came from as well.
Well, mostly like the first issue. That's interesting. I Because it came like out of nowhere. It was pretty interesting. But the first issue I had to write and then like rewrite a few times. But I had a lot of fun because when I eventually got to what I wanted to do, it like all just came. Like I said, it just came out of nowhere. It just came to me like like a vision.
Ooh, that's awesome. See, sometimes when the inspiration hits, you just have to get that message out somehow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so what got you to start creating in general? What drew you to making these type of characters and this type of story?
Honestly, well, the like objective answer was that I read a comic book that came with like my sketchers,
Rad.
and it was like really exciting, so I wanted to make some of my own. And I eventually was just like, I was just trying to make like something that I was already seeing, like how most creators start. They try to like copy what they like. So for me, it was like Batman and Moon Knight and like Punisher and stuff. And I thought it was interesting to like combine them all together into just one character, but also not try to make him like actually like a good guy.
Mm, that's interesting. And so what are your hopeful plans for this book? What kind of series are you looking to make and how long are you going to hopefully be writing this story in general?
That's the thing. It's difficult. I keep trying to decide between like if I want to continue it as a series or as a graphic novel. But right now I'm turning it back. I'm turning it into a graphic novel. So I'm rewriting issue 1, 2, and 3, and just like basically remastering it and then adding all of the new stuff for the graphic novel. Because I don't think it'll be long enough to turn into a series, but I also don't think it's short enough to just be like a short story. So it's an interesting situation.
I love that. And especially as an indie creator, you have so much freedom and, flexibility and how to format the story just right to where it's good for you to present and good for you to promote and also to get your point across with it as well. And I feel like with this book you're making, you were very strong in like what you were trying to say. Can you talk about that a little bit more? Like, I guess the overall message of the story you're writing?
Yeah, of course. Basically, well, one thing that people they always ask me, it's like, what, like you said, what drew you to these type of stories? Why do you want to make these types of stories? And I guess it's just because I don't really see them everywhere. I like to do things that, not to like, give myself too much credit or whatever, but I like to do things that I that I don't see like everywhere. I like to do things like, like I said, just make a hero, but he's not heroic. That's not like the most interesting thing, but people usually try to like still make them, heroic in some way. But for Kane, he's just kind of that's why he's fun to write because I don't agree with him in any way. So he's just it's like an exercise for me to like um to write something that I just do not agree with, but to write
Yeah.
it in a way that was still interesting.
Oh, I love that too because one of the biggest things of writing that I've always heard is that even when you're writing like say your villains, like there's still part of you that holds some of the truth behind them. And hearing this, you're kind of like writing something that completely opposes you. That's a totally different type of challenge because you're diving into more of what you believe and you're presenting what's against that. And
Yeah,
it's such an
exactly.
interesting conflict. I feel like with the writing in general, like, is your writing routine or your practice, does it get hard to approach some of these topics or these stories because of that? You're constantly trying to kind of clash with yourself in a way.
I mean, yes and no. Usually it's difficult because I just don't always have the motivation to write. I don't really experience like writer's block. It's mostly just like I don't have the time or the energy to do it. But when I do, it's usually pretty, I'd say it's fun because I don't, because State of Kane is more of a satire. So I
Mm.
don't take it like deadly seriously. But it's also still fun. Well, that's why it's fun because I know what I'm trying to say and I know what the point is.
I love that. That's so great. It actually kind of sounds like a fun writing exercise to take on in general, and to like craft a story like that, and to like have that mindset when approaching to something. So I think that might be something good for listeners to hear in general, just to take, it's a different take on approaching a character or arc, or just in general a book overall. So I really love where you're going with that too. And so what can we expect from you, maybe in 2025? Do you have any releases you could kind of potentially talk about, or maybe in plans or con appearances that you're hoping to land?
I've been looking at trying to like go to a Comic Con because I just heard about that. It's pretty obviously it's expensive, but to get just like a booth, it's pretty affordable. So I'm interested in that. But for next year, I don't really know. I don't think it's pretty up in the air right now. So I'm I am planning on trying to like make because I got a plan. I'm trying to while I am rewriting, State of Kane into a graphic novel, I have another script for a uh, like a single. What is it? Oh yeah, a one shot, uh, like weird, like time loop type story. So I want to, and of course it's a satire again. It's like a satire on like comic, like the tropes in comics and stuff. Like
Mhm.
the hero's girlfriend always dies, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And eventually, like I said, it like loops back on each other. So you read it again. But that's
Mm.
kind of what I'm trying to do, like as a test run for like another Kickstarter. That's what I'm kind of planning. I'm gonna put that on like Kickstarter, and then we'll do that in the meantime while I'm doing my State of Kane graphic novel.
Oh, I love that. And it also keeps you busy. And plus, bouncing between projects kind of helps you refresh going back to another one sometimes as well. So it's good to always
Yeah,
have a couple things on your plate. Where can people get State of Kane #1 right now? Is it available anywhere like online or anything so people could pick up a copy?
yeah. It's I used to have a website, but then I got rid of it because it wasn't really doing anything since I have my Instagram for that. But I do have State of Kane 1, 2, and 3 in digital on Amazon.
Oh, cool. Perfect. We'll drop a link there for people to go and check that out, to catch up on the story and see where you're going with it as well. I think a lot of people are going to be very interested, not only by the story itself, but like how your presentation in general. I love how you're kind of remaining anonymous behind the screen as well. And you're using your story to really be your vehicle to get out there in the world. And if it's available for people to download digitally, such a perfect way to get a good resource out there and to experience their book, no matter what at that point. So no excuses for people not to go down there and support this creator 100%. Tyler, this is so awesome. This is so interesting. I'm so intrigued by your work and by your approach to your work as well. And whenever you get your next book up and running onto a Kickstarter, or you're ready to announce it, please come back for a spotlight so we could put it back on you and talk about your next book. That's going to be so exciting.
Of course, thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Thank you so much for stepping in today.